Hey guys, welcome to this very late rambling recap. Now it's too hot for me to close the windows, so we may have to just deal with some background noise. More ambulances and police cars guaranteed this week, I'm sure. So in the closing moments of the start, just before I was about to press launch, Mike got himself a reserve in the form of Murphos, and as you've seen in the video, this guy's just so consistent. He sadly does not make a mistake. As much as I would have liked to keep up with him, I just haven't got the capability in my thumb nor the time to practice for that sort of consistency. I couldn't keep up, and Murphos went on to take quite a dominant victory considering he started right at the back. So that's a massive 38 points for Mike, who I believe like Picano and Ryan all wrote to him in the Facebook chat later, GG Mike. So quite a nice surprise for Mike there. I'm sure he didn't really know what to expect, probably thought he was getting relegated. On the other hand, someone who perhaps didn't think they'd be getting relegated was Neiman95, who called upon the assistance of Smithy112. Quite a safe bet, you would assume. But recently, with Smithy having moved to PC almost full time, he does complain quite a lot about coming back to PS4 for short stints due to the frame rate drop and not really being able to focus. So he had one of his disastrous races, unfortunately. UFO Driver, on the other hand, had a much better race, but this guy has started in the top 5 since he got to Division 1, and because he arrived here quite late, he's always had a low number of points. However, he hasn't been able to convert any of these starts into a win yet. He's just fallen short. This was his best chance so far, but with the relentless aggression of Murphos, even after the crash with me, UFO Driver wasn't able to hang on to the lead. I believe that once Murphos caught up to him, he crashed almost immediately, and there was no battle or fight for first. It was just gifted to Murphos. So unfortunate there for UFO Driver. It would have been interesting to see if he could have defended Murphos on track. So yet to score a win, but it's going to get harder for him because he is picking up quite a lot of points, and this is decreasing his starting position for the next races. So I think UFO Driver's starting something like 5th on Appleseed. So you've got one last chance, UFO Driver, to pick up a win. That holds true for me as well. I really wish I'd came 3rd, maybe even 2nd if I'd just had a slightly better drive. I may have been able to catch up to UFO Driver, who knows, I don't know. The fact is I didn't, and I've come 5th once again. I can say all these ifs and buts, but I just haven't got it in me to stay consistent enough, and I've been beaten by MC West and Ryan this week. Ryan didn't put much practice in at all, if any. I doubt MC West did either. None of the Ryan, Picano, MC West and Sean L camp really put any practice in this week. Unfortunately, Sean L was hit hardest with it. He wasn't having a pleasant race, and he gave up halfway around. Still somehow managed to come in front of Smithy there. How did that happen? I guess Smithy also pulled over. But Mini Temper suffered the same fate. He ended up getting lapped, and Dr. Peppers was off the pace too. So all of those guys are going down. Rozodkiv had a reserve in place. It was Jose, I don't know how he prefers to be called. It's a J. In every other language, that's usually a Y, but in English it's a J. Jose424 didn't come. He couldn't get online or something like that, but this has hit Rozodkiv pretty hard because he's got 0 points for having no reserve. We couldn't wait any longer. We had to get the race started, so I apologise to Rozodkiv for that. To wrap things up here, Defiance Wirers was driving for Oracle XR, and he was hit with a 10-second penalty for taking out another car with his lag and not waiting. It was really obvious. The car in front turned the complete wrong direction for a left-hander, and for some reason the Defiance didn't wait, so there was a 10-second penalty for that, and I think that's dropped Defiance behind Picano and Headshot in the results. So Oracle loses out 2 points there. Congratulations to everyone else, especially Gaming Easter Egg for getting back into Division 1 and staying there, really mixing it up with these guys. and proving that you belong in Division 1 once again. That's a great job, Gaming Easter Egg. Right, let's go to Division 2. First of all, what happened at the start of this race? Macy was with us, but he also wasn't. He was in the game chat with us, but not visible for any other player. He said he was on the track, but he couldn't see anybody, or at least none of us could see him. I really don't understand what had happened there, but I believe it was the cause of lots and lots of traffic spawning on the racetrack. So we were trying to line up the grid, and suddenly the downtown traffic of Los Santos starts weaving in between our grid formation. So it didn't go away, and I had to think fast. So we decided to do a quick safety car lap to see if we could get it to despawn. After telling Macy to please quit, as I thought that may have been the cause, and thankfully it was, but really unfortunate that Macy couldn't take part. Fortunately though, we did have a reserve in the lobby ready to take care of a situation like this, and it was XR Cool, but as you can see from Macy's name there, he wasn't actually able to keep Macy in Division 2, so that is a shame. For a while it seemed that Frinker was just going to run away with it, and he did open up a really big gap, but all of a sudden, whilst I was trying to line up some nice camera shots for the compilation video, Scrazor92 entered first, and I was like, what the hell? And everyone else on the mic couldn't believe it either. Scrazor overtook Frinker, but moments later you just heard Scrazor say, fuck! And Frinker entered first, just moments after Scrazor got the lead, so maybe the pressure of getting first really close to the end of the race got to him and sent him spinning out. Defiance Wirers had a much better race in this one than in Division 1, this time reserving for GGamer007 and picking up one hell of a lap in the Karen Sultan. The fastest lap of the weekend, in fact. Something like a 19.1 in the Sultan, which was pretty crazy. So he's picking up the 7 bonus points for getting that lap in Division 2. You get 5 if you're Division 1, 7 if you're Division 2, and 10 if you manage to pull off the fastest lap of the weekend in Division 3. However, that will be changing next season, where reserve drivers won't be able to score bonus points like that for other drivers. So Division 2 was basically the race of reserve drivers. It was supposed to be the most star-studded Division 2 we've had this season, but hardly anyone could show up. What have we got here, like 6 reserves? I really think we did. I think we had 6 reserves or something, which was crazy. And so Frinker, who should have been starting 15th, actually started something like 9th. And so it wasn't as hard as it should have been for him to get back into Division 1 anyway. He certainly had a much easier job cut out for him. Yuchia was one of the biggest surprises for me because he had a great starting position, and you'd expect someone with Yuchia's pace to just breeze through to Division 1. But I think after an early pit stop and coming out in, shall we say, more treacherous waters, I believe he had an incident with another one of the reserve drivers, and this really set him back. And then he compounded this problem with a couple of crashes of his own. So for the longest of times, he was sat in 6th, and he was asking me down the mic, like, what position do you need to get into Division 1? I would have thought that would have been quite obvious by now, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He's still new to the league. But yeah, he was in 6th and he needed 5th. However, on the other hand, Jay Beast, who was running in 2nd for most of the race behind Frinker, eventually got passed by Scrazor, and then had his hands full with a charging Defiance, Crow Gamer, and eventually Yuchia as well on the final lap, as Jay Beast crashed with about 3 corners to go. Crow Gamer and Yuchia battled through the final corner. That would have been interesting to see if it were for 5th and 6th, but as Jay Beast crashed out, it was for 4th and 5th, and Yuchia ended up getting that position on the final corner. Crow Gamer could have had a different story to tell to Charles the King if Jay Beast hadn't crashed out. But unfortunately, Jay Beast, you're still stuck here for the final race on Appleseed. I hope that bodes well for you, and I hope you like the Osiris, because that's what you'll be stuck with. I'm awesome, put in a relatively average performance, I guess, as did Jerome. Jim Bob was driving for Most C Wanted, and he was pleased to keep him in the division. And Racing Benji got himself back up from Division 3 last week and just about hung on this week. We see Imarog Co, Macy, Nus Nus Manel, which is a big shocker, but that's because he had Guzman driving for him this week, a fellow Spaniard. And Jakey H3, Jakey H, going down to Division. I completely forgot about Jakey. Talk about the worst race of his life. He was on the verge of giving up. I don't know how he didn't give up. I've never seen someone crash on so many corners. It was abysmal for Jakey this week, because he is a Division 1 driver in my opinion. When he's got his act together, Jakey's in Division 1 any day of the week, but now he's in Division 3, so what a shocker. And no reserve organised by Got You Itch, or at least one that didn't show up, so he was out of the equation as well. I'm going to keep Division 3 relatively short because I explained most of it in my highlights video, to be honest. It was pretty much dominated by BC Eagles guy once he got into the lead. He wasn't really on the pace of Frinker and Defiance from the previous race, although they were in the same car. So there's a tell as to how his performance is going to go in future races. He was about a second and a bit actually off Defiance, so it was good enough to dominate this race, but it would have been a different story perhaps in Division 2. But the standout star of the midfield for me was Golub Shreko, because he usually finishes in one of the lower positions. He survives, but he usually finishes down in like 8th to 10th, so it's great to see him get through to Division 2 for the last race. Mo Youngstar, Jeroen and Crowgamer, well, they were expected top finishers for me. Not really surprised they're going through. But I am a bit surprised that Dylan didn't get through. I mean, this was his race to lose. He had a top 5 start and he went backwards in the race, which was pretty poor. Unlucky there, Dylan. Moderated account was a newcomer this week. That's Joker Nation. Moderated account is too long to fit in my little boxes there, so you can have your YouTube name instead, Joker Nation. Guzman finished 10th, but oh, Guzman. I want to say that it wasn't awareness, and that he did, like some of these more inexperienced drivers, they don't look at their mini-maps. Like that can separate the more professional drivers from the inexperienced drivers. Having full awareness, looking at your mini-map at all times to see how many cars are around you. But when you've got 2 cars in front of you and a 3rd car to your right, and you commit to the pit lane and just completely no-sell the corner, flying body slam into everyone in sight, and somehow manage to pick up the extra casualty who's just trying to come out of the pit lane at the same time, his response was, sorry guys, my bad. But I don't think I can put that down to lack of awareness. That is just, what? You can watch the video again and again, and it's like, how does that happen? Guzman, open your eyes, man. Oh, God. So, I felt like the penalty should have been even bigger, but that would have put him even further down. Nevertheless, I just gave him 10 seconds, and it's enough to relegate him. Oh, man. Digster Pop, I'm pretty sure he didn't expect to be getting eliminated. I guess he had faith in his reserve Dino DZZO, as he did a great job last time, but not this time. I don't know how he ended up so low, but he had an awful race, and Digster Pop is gone, as is Senior Tota for his 3rd appearance, and unfortunately XR Cool is going down as well. Well, he's getting eliminated. Not surprised really. All I could hear for the latter half of the race was his father shouting random things in German. Nothing worse than a shouting German father to distract you from one of the most intense races on GTA. So unfortunately, yeah, XR Cool has gone. Whitey White is taking a break from GTA in general, following the trend of gamers who are just taking a break over the summer. And I think the only other people I've got to talk about are Jim Bob and Frezzies. Now, Jim Bob invited Frezzies to COTM, and while Jim Bob's been up to Division 2 and back down again, it's interesting to see Frezzies almost outperforming Jim Bob. It's almost a case of the student outperforming the master. So it will be interesting to see if Frezzies can beat Jim Bob in the final race of the season. And Got You Itch was driving as a late driver to try and solidify his position in Division 2, but unfortunately he couldn't do it, so he'll definitely be getting relegated to Division 3 next week. Right, come on then. Let's do it. Let's look at the thing that I don't want to see. The harsh reality I don't want to accept. Just as I make it into second, Frinker makes it impossible for me to come first. He's more than 40 points ahead, which is a Division 1 victory. Even if I get the fastest lap of the weekend, I won't be able to catch him now. So Frinker is your King of the Mountain Season 1, and congratulations for such a great victory. But I have to thank Frinker for more than that. Thank you for being here since race 1, and just adding some validity to the league and increasing its competitiveness. I really think having you here has definitely contributed to its increase in popularity. People have taken this very seriously because of drivers like you, and it's definitely stepped up my game as well. So it's sad that you won't be participating in Season 2, but thank you for being here in Season 1, and I hope you can still enjoy the final race on Appleseed tomorrow. Once again, guys, round of applause for Frinker, your King of the Mountain for Season 1. Right, now the fun is not quite over for me, as I've got Headshot, A-Wes and Shawnell all within touching distance as we come into the final race of the season, and it's around Grapeseed, which is certainly one of the more try-hard areas, in the Grotti Turismo R, which is certainly one of the more try-hard supers, thanks to all of Shaggy's work on the PS3, and it's certainly a car that I'm not as well versed with as my competition is. I usually spend my time racing bloody Slam Van Customs or Cascos or Tornado Customs or Brawlers on my wonderful off-road tracks, which may make an appearance in Season 2. I haven't decided yet. I totally have. It's going to be round 2. Well, anyway, the point is I really want to come second, and it's not looking promising. I start 14th, and I've got some fast drivers in front of me. Oh, God, wish me luck. With Rozodkiew's Reserve not showing up, Jesus, try and say that 5 times fast. Rozodkiew's Reserve, Rozodkiew's Reserve, with Rozodkiew going down to Division 2, he's still a threat. I mean, we've seen what's happened to the other drivers who have gone down to Division 2. They just bounce back with a bucket load of points. So I'm not counting him out just yet. He is also within threatening distance. I've got to keep an eye on him, but hopefully if I score highly, it won't matter either way. As for the rest of you, take a look at which column you're in, because these columns are going to decide Division 1 and Division 2 for the start of next season. Division 3, I will take some names from the third column and throw in some of the new drivers who are going to skip the brand new Division 4. I'm introducing a new division thanks to popular demand, and my waiting list is just so long, it's going to take these guys forever to get in if there's not a Division 4. More about that in a future video, but Division 4 is going to be kind of the have-a-go hero division, where I've got quite a lot of new people joining my YouTube channel at the moment, which is fairly surprising, and we need a division for these guys to just get their feet wet, and Division 4 is going to be the place. Certain drivers are just going to go straight into Division 3, you know, like the likes of Tom Pearson and Niederberger and Manny aka YOLO. What this means for the likes of Digster Pop, who you can see there in 25th, and Jakey just above him, is that although they're in Division 3 right now, or maybe even eliminated from the competition, they will very likely be starting in Division 2 for the start of next season. Who else is relatively close? Dylan! Dylan on 54! Right, Dylan, I know you've been saying for weeks that you're trying to get into Division 2, but if there was ever a time to do it, this is the time. Hashtag Dylan for Division 2. Come on, Dylan, you can do it, man. And we've maxed out our names on the standings. Finally, I've got 60 names, and I guess that's only going to get more complicated for me to keep track of as we open up a new division and even more players start spilling in. So I need to wrap things up here because the video is going way overboard. It's getting way late, and it's going to be tomorrow's race before I even finish at this rate. So I will say good night for now, and good luck tomorrow to the drivers, and thank you for a really good Season 1 at Children of the Mountain. Congratulations one last time to Frinker from France.